Mr. Hot Take Show. Mr. Hot Take Show.
How is everybody doing today? Today we are doing my top 31 zombie movies. Now this is the definitive list. And if you do not agree with this list, well, I hope that your socks are always damp, or that every time when you drop something, you pick it up and drop it 2 more times. So I am done reviewing and giving my thoughts on what seems to be the 31 most favorable zombie movies in general. I didn't much care for a lot of that list. Now, a lot of it I did, but there's a lot of movies that were left out that are way better. So today, you're gonna get a taste of what I think are the best zombie movies ever made. In the 31st place is Pontypool. This is a Canadian zombie movie that takes place completely in a radio station. So through the radio station, they're getting live updates and feeding it to the populace. And then the radio station itself starts to get attacked by the zombie outbreak. And it's a really fantastic film, especially for how low budget it is. I think that if you enjoy zombie movies, if you enjoy just really good indie films, this is something that you should check out. Coming in at number 30 is World War Z. So with World War Z, I am somebody who did not actually read the books, but from what I hear, the book is far superior. In most cases it is than the movie, but if apparently they changed a lot of stuff out of the book than the movie, or didn't add a bunch of stuff, or the movie was supposed to be like a trilogy or something. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that the action sequences in this movie are fucking awesome. The not action sequences in this movie are fucking boring. There's too much boring. That's where I'm at with this movie. Coming in at number 29 is Little Monsters. So this is an Australian zombie movie about a teacher trying to keep her students from getting turned into zombies, basically, is what this movie is about. And it has some very funny, outrageous moments, but all in all, it's just a fun movie. It's not a fantastic movie. It's a fun movie. Coming in at number 28 is The Night Eats the World. This movie is about a guy that gets basically trapped inside of an apartment building after the zombie apocalypse happens, and he's trying to either figure his way out or figure a way to like get around throughout the apartment complex. And there's not a lot special about this movie. There's not a lot going on, but the one thing about this movie that I absolutely love is actually the zombies in this film. They're creepier than most zombies because they don't make any noise. They just run at you. And they're not making noise. They're just... And it is kind of terrifying. Like, zombie movies don't get me like that, but this movie like had me creeped out a couple of times just from the thing coming and running at him. If you want to experience some... I hope somebody else sees this and they're like, we need to do something like that with a zombie movie. Give it a more robust story along with that type of zombie would be fantastic. Coming in at number 27 is Blood Quantum. This is a movie about indigenous people of America that are immune to the zombie virus that is infecting everybody. And it is a very interesting story with some extremely lovable and hateable characters. The only issue that I had with this is the consistency of acting, and the best actor in this is actually the most, like, the character that you will hate the most. But he is definitely the best actor in the film. And he pulls it off really well. All right, coming in at number 26 is Cooties. Elijah Wood and Rainn Wilson, and little kids getting turned into zombies and coming after you. What more do you want? Now, I want everybody to understand, in this list, I like all 31 of these films. There's not a film on this list that I don't like. So basically, we're just putting my favorite zombie movies in order. That's all, in order from what I like the most to what I would still watch any given day, but don't like it as much as the ones on top. This is going to be one of the more controversial ones. Coming in at number 25 is 28 Days Later. This is my least favorite of the 28 Later franchise, and a lot of it has to do surprisingly not with the picture quality or the audio quality, which is very reminiscent of the 1960s or 70s, probably more the 70s, I guess, like late 60s, early 70s. It has that grimy feel to it. The audio even has that sound to it, that not great sound quality to it. Because it's done purposeful, it doesn't feel bad to me. What I don't appreciate about the movie is the very little amount of zombie presence that can be felt in the film. I mean, it has it, and it's more about the human characters in this movie, but I kind of just felt like I want to see the world with the zombies, and like, I don't know. I wanted a more, I think they went too far into the human realm and out of the zombie realm. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how I felt about 28 Days Later. Coming in at number 24 is The Night of the Living Dead, 1990. So I do like the remake more than the original. I understand what the original was trying to accomplish, but Barbara is just a better character in the 1990 remake. The gore effects, of course, are a million times better in this film. And of course, you know, it was budget restraints and all of that stuff. I do understand, and like just a product of the times with the original movie. I appreciate what the original movie is, but the updated version, I believe, is the more superior version. Coming in at number 23 is Dawn of the Dead, 1978. So a lot of people have the original Dawn of the Dead in, of course, their top 5. I think that it's just kind of slow for me. Again, just like with Romero's original, you know, Night of the Living Dead, I fully appreciate what this movie is, and I absolutely love the setting of this. I think it is the most perfect setting for a zombie film, and I wish that we would kind of see that even more, you know, this type of setting even more, even though malls are kind of dead now. Maybe what if a strip mall or something like that? That might be cool. I don't know if anybody's done that yet. I haven't seen a zombie movie with a strip mall. That would be kind of cool, them trying to get in and out of different. But anyway, I digress. 1978 Dawn of the Dead is a very good movie, but it is aged for me, and it is slow for me. Therefore, it's at number 23. Coming in at number 22 is Dead Alive, or Braindead, depending on what part of the world you are from. And I don't actually know off the top of my head what countries got what titles. So anyway, Dead Alive is one of Peter Jackson's first movies before, of course, he went to make Lord of the Rings and King Kong. And it is a wild, gory, disgusting, amazing, fun time. It's a slapstick comedy. It's Evil Dead, stop motion and puppetry. It's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous movie. If you enjoy disgusting things that are trying to make you laugh, then you will enjoy this movie. Coming in at number 21 is Land of the Dead. I really like this movie and the setting, like the beginning of the movie and the way that some of the zombies look is awesome. I like that it's showing this a progression from Day of the Dead into Land of the Dead, where some of the zombies are getting even more intelligent and starting to learn even more. It's building on that concept. I like the power struggle between, the lowest class of people being the zombies. Then you have the lower class people in the actual human realm, and then you have the high class people there, and the only people that are living well are the high class people. And then it just culminates into this chaos at the end of the movie. Some of the people just being like, we're getting the hell out of here. And I love the cast in this movie. It's fantastic. All right, coming in at number 20 is Resident Evil. The first Resident Evil movie, of course. The only one that I would call just a good movie. But even on rewatch, anybody that's watching this movie in the modern times, if you didn't grow up with this movie, I can understand if you don't enjoy it or don't find it to be a good movie, because of just the bad CG that's in it, the action sequences that I remember being way more epic when I was a kid, like not actually being that epic, and the fact that like half the cast gets killed in one scene. This movie, I think, is built purely on nostalgia. I really do. On rewatch, I think that this movie deserves to be a lot lower on the list, but this movie is built purely on nostalgia and me having super fond memories of it when I was a child. Coming in at number 19 is Cemetery Man. This film, this is an Italian zombie movie-ish. It's about this guy that works at a cemetery that has to put down the undead. Some of the undead that get buried in the cemetery, or some of the dead that get buried in the cemetery, come back as the undead, and he has to put them down and rebury them. You're not 100% sure what's real and what's not in this movie, like as it's going. This movie feels like a really even more messed up American Psycho, the way that the story progresses. And there's just some like outrageous lines that happened in this movie that I'm not going to repeat on here, where one of the characters, she's talking about how she still loves the main guy, but her boss did something to her and now she's going to marry him. And this movie is wild, and the ending is something. I think that this is just one of those movies that is made to just entertain you and not really matter if you get it or not. Coming in at number 18 is 28 Years Later. I know a lot of people are not caring for this movie very much, and the only thing I'm hearing about is this last few moments, of course, with the Power Ranger characters doing their backflips and stuff like that. But here's the thing. I don't care about that part. That is building into the next movie. None of you know how good or bad the next movie is going to be with these characters in it. So I think that you're prematurely judging that scene. And it might feel ridiculous to you now, but you don't fucking know how they're going to implement that into the next film and make it interesting. Fuck. Anyway, judging the actual movie, the actual story that is presented to us, not the after credits scene or the extra scene at the end that's building the next movie. Judging this movie, it is visually stunning and beautiful, and it feels like I'm watching a nature documentary. I don't think that the actual story itself is that strong, but the visuals make up a huge deal of it. I love the way the zombies move in this movie. They remind me, if any of you are anime fans and you watch Attack on Titan, they move a lot like some of the Titans, and it cracks me up. I like the alphas that are in this, where they're just like standing back, like watching what's happening and stuff when they send in their army, basically. But yeah, it just feels like I'm watching a beautifully like horrible nature documentary, of course. Coming in at number 17 is Warm Bodies. This is just a really fun Romeo and Juliet movie with the zombie Romeo and the human Juliet, and they're not supposed to be together. That's literally the only thing you need to know. It's a Romeo and Juliet story with zombies. It's great and funny. Coming in at number 16 is Anna and the Apocalypse. This is a British musical zombie horror comedy that takes place at Christmas. And if that sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend this. If you're a musical fan, go for it. If you hate musicals, stay away. Coming in at number 15 is Zombieland. Around the time that this movie actually came out, this would be way higher on my list for me. But over the years, I've watched it so much. But I've watched some of these other movies a lot too. And some of these other movies have not dropped down for me. But this one, I don't know what it is exactly. I don't find it as funny as I used to, I think is a big part of it. Maybe it's just because I know what's going to happen. And but the ending sequence in this movie, I think, is just really weak. Right as they leave Bill Murray's house, and that whole ending sequence, I just find it to be super weak. Kind of kills the mood for me as I'm finishing out this movie. Again, I still like every movie on this list. Coming in at number 14 is Planet Terror. Another wild, wacky, ridiculous lady with a machine gun leg movie. I mean, not another machine gun leg movie, but another ridiculous movie. And that's one of the ridiculous things. But this is basically a movie meant to feel like a cheap B movie, but with a high-end budget. That's what this movie is, and it does a really good job of accomplishing that, and it's a lot of fun. Coming in at number 13 is Army of the Dead. I love Zack Snyder's work. I know a lot of people did not really care for this movie, but I understand the reasons why they don't. I think that the good parts of this movie are so good that they kind of outweigh the bad. And a lot of that bad comes at the that beginning of the movie when they're trying to build the team to go into Las Vegas. And you can kind of just, if you're on a rewatch, you can basically just skip the whole, like the majority of that. I'd watch the opening sequence and then skip the whole team building and just go into when they go into Vegas, and you'll have a really good time. If this movie was a lot shorter, I think that this would be quite a bit higher even on my list. Coming in at number 12 is 28 Weeks Later. This is my favorite 28 Later movie. I absolutely love that opening sequence. Just the whole fight or flight aspect of it, and it sets up that character, making you think that they're going to be a certain way, and then all hell breaks loose because of them. And it's just a very well constructed story that I fucking love, man. Now, as far as days, weeks, and years, these movies to me don't feel connected at all, really. It's very strange the way that they've built these stories. And, you know, there's things that we that weren't mentioned in years that happened in weeks, with immunity and things of that nature. I don't know. There's just these stories don't feel connected. They're great movies on their own. If all of them were named something else and had no ties name-wise to each other, I don't think anybody would know that they were in the same universe. All right. Coming in at number 11 is The Girl with All the Gifts. This is a really interesting film. It takes the concept of zombies having children that are still kind of human, but are like they have the intelligence of humans. They have the able to interact with humans and speak and all that, but they get the hunger that the zombies have, and they want to eat human flesh, and they can't help themselves when they get too hungry. It's a very interesting take on the concept. I actually love the ending of this movie and where it goes. I feel like it's a interesting take on like the evolutionary process or like apocalyptic ending with a new beginning and stuff of that nature. So it's very, very well crafted story. I really love this movie. I had a hard time deciding if I was going to put it in my top 10 or not. But I think the 10 movies above it are just a slight cut above. Coming in at number 10 is Reanimator. This movie I almost did not add to the list. I know it's on a lot of people's like zombie movie lists. This is closer to a Frankenstein monster, which I know is still technically a zombie, but it's become like its own monster in fiction. But this is more of this is in between, because the creatures are able to be multiplied and multiples created all at the same time, but it's not from like them biting each other or anything like that. It's from a serum. So I had a really hard time deciding if I was going to put this on a zombie list or not, or if I was just going to consider this a Frankenstein monster. Ultimately, I decided, just because it's on pretty much every zombie list, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the zombie list, mostly because they're able to create more zombies through it. So this movie is really, really good, with some really problematic scenes in it that are wild for modern times. So if you're easily offended, probably don't watch this movie. But it is really great. I love, the practical effects in this movie are just freaking awesome, man. And the acting is great. I really like the cast in this. For a 1980s film, for it to be this high for me is a good sign that this is a well-crafted movie. Coming in at number 9 is One Cut of the Dead. So this is a Japanese zombie film. And I'm not going to give any spoilers. Just know that this movie is not what it seems at first. The first half of the movie has to be there, or else the second half of the movie doesn't have the same impact. Now, the way that the first half of the movie is filmed feels like you're watching one continuous shot. It is not actually one continuous shot, but it's filmed in a way to make it feel like it is one continuous shot. The second half of the movie goes into detail about that. This is a love letter to movie making. This is, if you are a lover of film and not somebody that just watches movies to watch movies, if you are a lover of the process of making movies and everything that goes along with it and all the behind the scenes type stuff, this is a movie for you. Just know that the first half of the film, you just kind of got to struggle through it. The second half of the film is a huge payoff. All right, coming in at number 8 is Day of the Dead. This is my favorite of Romero's movies. Day of the Dead is absolutely fantastic. I think the story is good. I don't think that the story itself is like anything like out of this world, like blow your mind, but the story is good. The characters are great in this. It does feel a little cheesy at times with the acting, but I love the whole process of, you know, them trying to teach zombies to be human again, and that whole part. But the special effects, the practical effects in this movie are so good. This is one of the best movies for practical effects that you will ever see. And then I know a lot of people talk about this scene, but it's almost haunting when the dude gets his head ripped off and the strained vocal cords like go like, and it just it's such a wild scene. Even for today's standards, it still is just haunting, that moment. Coming in at number 7 is Night of the Creeps. This is another movie that I had to like consider. Is this more like sci-fi alien movie, or is this a true zombie movie, since it's like slugs creating like these zombie beings? But yeah, it's a zombie movie straight up. But it's got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. It's got, you know, it's these alien creatures that are actually like creating people to be zombies. They're like get in your head and eat your brain and take over. And just a fantastic movie, great comedic movie. You got basically the final girl with the flamethrower. You got the drunk cop like trying to figure out like what's going on the whole time, and just these one-liners, these zingers coming out constantly. It's just a solid, great movie. This is the first time I'd ever seen it, and I absolutely loved Night of the Creeps. Coming in at number 6 is Train to Busan. This is a Korean zombie movie that takes place almost entirely on a bullet train. Thinking about being stuck on a moving train trying to stay alive from zombies, the only ways that you can go are forward or backward. And that's it. You're having to figure out a way to stay alive. Thinking about it in that aspect makes, like, if you keep that in your mind the whole time, it makes this feel like a very claustrophobic, like terrifying movie in that way, in that regard. It's just a super well-made movie. This is where we're getting into what I consider like S-tier zombie films. There's just these fantastic moments, heartbreaking moments in this movie. When I say this is typically a top 5 movie, but there are 6 movies that I just feel are just S-tier. You should watch these movies if you're a zombie fan. Coming in at number 5 is The Return of the Living Dead. From what I can tell, and I've watched the second movie now, I have not watched the third movie, and I never hear anybody talk about it. I don't even know if it's in the same universe or if it's a fan movie or whatever, but Necropolis or whatever. So 3 or 4 movies in this franchise, and the second movie I tried to watch and it bored the hell out of me. And this was after I had done the 31 other movies, and then I was rewatching a few movies just to get my list in order. Tried watching it just to see if it would be on my top 31 list, and it definitely was not, even by like 20 minutes in the movie, so I turned it off. Return of the Living Dead, though. This movie, this was the first time I'd ever watched this movie, and it is absolutely fantastic. I like that the zombies are able to speak in this movie. I love like the implications that some of the stuff that's going on in this movie like has some crazy implications to it. Like whenever the zombies come out of the ground, like they immediately know, like seem like they know what's going on, and they're on the hunt. They're trying to like end this pain. So like, have these people just been, we call them dead, but they're not actually dead. They've been feeling all this pain this whole time, but now they're like reanimated so they can move around. And by eating brains is this is where the whole brains, the wanting to eat brain zombies came from. And it temporarily takes away the pain that they're feeling, because they're just constantly rotting and they feel every moment of it. Like the whole setup to this movie is, if you think about it, is like fucking wild and wicked. It's a comedy. So you just have it. So I don't know. I truly love this movie. I was pleasantly surprised when I watched this thing. Coming in at number 4 is #Alive. This is another Korean zombie film about a guy that is in his apartment when the zombie apocalypse starts. It shows the whole process of him like coming to terms with the fact that the zombie apocalypse happened. Like he let somebody in because they're scared. They're trying to figure out what's going on. They don't have anywhere else to go. But then he's like, well, what if this guy like attacks me or something? Like goes through that whole process of like trust, distrust, and then gets to a point where like he's out of water, and that situation, like all alone, he doesn't have anybody to talk to, sees somebody across in another apartment complex that's there, and they find ways to communicate with each other. This movie is extremely human while giving you just like crazy zombie stuff the whole time too, and like him like trying to go to like other apartment rooms to find food and water and all that, and just staying away from the zombies. Fantastic movie. Coming in at number 3 is Dawn of the Dead from 2004. Zack Snyder killed it with his remake of Dawn of the Dead. This is, when I think of like quintessential zombie movies, not like comedy zombie, just quintessential zombie movies, this is the movie I think about. And I know a lot of people say, oh, zombies don't run. Well, I hope that the running zombies take you out. Anyway, Dawn of the Dead 2004 is, as far as like zombie movies go, like basic zombie movies, no other stuff going on, this is my favorite. I love the whole in the mall thing. Of course, both Dawn of the Deads are on this list. That whole mall setting is just fantastic. Should be done more. Maybe an outlet mall like I was talking about would be that would be cool. Maybe. Like I remember being pretty young when I saw this movie too, and the whole like zombie baby thing like was wild to me. Yeah, just a great film. Now, this is going to be controversial to some people too. For my top 2 movies, one of these I watched my number 1 movie I watched for the first time recently, and you'll see what it is. But number 2 was my number 1 until just a few days ago. Coming in at number 2 is Shaun of the Dead. I love the Cornetto trilogy. It is the greatest trilogy ever made. Shaun of the Dead is a fantastic movie. It is still in my top 10 movies ever made. Not just horror movies, top 10 movies ever made. It is in that top 10 still. There is one that pushed it out. But Shaun of the Dead, please understand that this was my favorite zombie film ever made, of course, until recently. Coming in at number 1 is The Dead Don't Die. I know not very many people are going to agree with me on this, and that is okay. I absolutely love the whole meta aspect of this movie, the whole concept of, you know, these characters previously already read the script for the movie. They know that it's a movie, but but they don't, and like just the whole meta aspect of this whole movie, I fucking love, man. I love everything about this movie. Adam Driver and Bill Murray, fantastic. Having the coroner be basically the girl from Kill Bill, but like autistic, is just fantastic. And then at the end, you find out something else about her. I don't know. I fucking love this movie. It's in my top 10 movies ever now. I've already watched it twice in the last few days. I'm going to watch it again soon. Yeah, I fucking love The Dead Don't Die. Fucking love it. Anyway, that was my top 31 zombie movies of all time. That is the definitive list. If you don't like it, I don't really care. Anyway, y'all have a good night, and I'll see you next time.